Obviously, it's a slow process, and I definitely want to get back on the court as soon as possible.
3 players returning from injury with the most to prove. The 24-25 NBA season is just around the corner and looks to be one of the most fun to watch seasons in a long time. The story of the first father-son duo, the Celtics haven't had the chance to defend a title for over a decade and will do so after winning the 23-24 championship. We finally get to see the 2024 draft class in action, a class many believe is the worst of all time, along with players that led their generations, playing on the backsides of their careers, attempting to spark one last fire on their way out. There's so many storylines that lead in anticipation for the season, but one that looms over with the gravest of implications is the storylines of 3 players with the most to prove on their return from injury. Ja Morant has made himself easily one of the 2 best players of his draft class, along with Zion Williamson. Morant is not only that, but when healthy, he's one of the best players and point guards in the league, not to mention arguably the most exciting player to watch in the last 5 years. He was the NBA Rookie of the Year, then made his first All-Star in year 3, averaging over 27 points per game and nearly 7 assists. He finished the following year with similar numbers and an All-Star. With 2 relatively healthy seasons under his belt, Morant was on his way to a true MVP candidate, completely turning things around in Memphis, making them a playoff team, right on the brink of contending for the crown under his leadership. The only thing that could threaten that was injury. His January 2024, a dislocated shoulder that shut him down the rest of the season. LaMelo Ball, like Ja Morant, was a young star on and off the floor, the last hope for Lavar Ball, manifesting a true NBA All-Star and potential superstar, winning the Rookie of the Year in 2021, being named an All-Star by just his 2nd year in the league, and the obvious franchise player for Charlotte. He was fulfilling his prophecy as the best Ball brother until he fractured a bone in his ankle February 2023 and was ruled out the rest of the 22-23 season. He returned in 23-24 for 22 games, but shut it down again to continue rehabbing his ankle. His brother Lonzo Ball is probably the most shocking story of all, missing the last 2 seasons due to multiple knee injuries and surgeries after having a solid but somewhat disappointing growth-stunted career since his Summer League hot start and trade from the Lakers. His 3rd team, the Chicago Bulls, were supposed to be where Lonzo found his stride in the NBA, being the player his dad said would be better than Steph Curry. The Bulls bet a lot on Lonzo's leadership, but without him, the team literally fell apart, trading DeMar DeRozan and looking to trade Zach LaVine to the highest bidder at any moment. If Ja Morant has another injury-prone season, it just may be time to add the Derrick Rose tag of what could have been to his name, with his peers leaving him behind as the faces of their generation. If LaMelo Ball can't have a healthy season this year, Charlotte may have to conclude that while a great talent, he may just be the next down the Penny Hardaway Grant Hill line of superstars betrayed by their bodies. Lonzo Ball, having been away so long, is on his last string if he can't show he can recover from the injuries and even improve on what he was, what seems like forever ago. Huge year for these 3 players more than any. Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. Ja Morant, shoulder subluxation, last played January 5th, 2024. Let's begin with the player I think can be the biggest star of the 3. Morant, I have to be honest, I didn't see being as good as he was literally since like day 3 in the NBA, where he exploded for 30 points and 9 assists versus the Brooklyn Nets his rookie year, October 2019. I had Zion winning the Rookie of the Year, but because of health reasons, Zion didn't play enough games to qualify, and by default, Ja eventually won the award with averages of 17.8 points per game and 7.3 assists in 31 minutes per. His 2nd season, he improved slightly, missing some key games the month before All-Star break. He finished the season playing 63 games and led Memphis back to the playoffs. Just 2 seasons in, and he was proving the naysayers wrong who said he didn't come from a big enough school to be a star or that he couldn't shoot well enough for the era. His third season was where he really exploded out of nowhere to be one of the best players in the league. He took such a jump from year 2 to year 3 that the NBA had to award him the Most Improved Player award, going from 19 points per game to over 27 in 33 minutes, shooting a career high from 3. Besides numbers, Ja Morant was just an amazing sight to see. Athletically, he gives you the same blur to the basket D Rose did, but attacks it like Westbrook, looking to dunk on any player in his way. He was also really clutch as well, using his push floater to dominate the Timberwolves in the 2022 playoffs. Speaking of Minnesota, I feel that team and Morant's Grizzlies were neck and neck at the time, with Memphis obviously ahead in their progression, beating the Timberwolves in 2022 4-2, but now the T-Wolves are where the Grizzlies would be at this point, competing for the Western Conference Finals and nearing a championship like Luka and the Mavericks as well. We've seen Edwards, Luka, and Shea all pass Ja Morant on the star scale, all because Ja simply isn't there enough to be a major player in the race. Edwards, along with Shea, making major moves in their development this offseason, playing in the Paris Olympics, a spot Morant could have been in if not for the consistent injuries. He returns this season fully healthy by time it begins, back to reclaim the spot he left open in a huge 24-25 year. LaMelo Ball, ankle fracture, last played January 26, 2024. LaMelo is the perfect example of the social media era star. He embodies the nature of the young kids today and brought that same childlike flair to the NBA, changing the environment for the Charlotte Hornets, giving them a viable NBA superstar in the making to throw the franchise behind. And Melo was worth it too. He's a 6'7" point guard, the pet project of the Lavar Ball experiment, where his eldest brother Lonzo was good, but maybe not a superstar, and his middle brother LiAngelo wasn't even good enough to get a 10-day in the league, leaving Lavar with one last shot of producing a bona fide NBA All-Star and possible superstar. In just his second year, Melo became just that, an All-Star in 21-22 at just 20 years old. But since then, he's dealt with an ankle injury so severe, it's hindered he and his team the last 2 seasons. The Hornets haven't made the postseason in 8 straight years, the longest drought in the NBA, and don't look to do so if LaMelo can't take them there on his back. When Melo is healthy, the team and the city looks excited enough to finally make a push under his leadership, and for him individually, he brings a different type of NBA star that has the charisma and creativity to be a one-of-one talent never before seen in the league. The passes he tries, the shot he makes that both sometimes seems on accident, are a natural split-second decision that he never hesitates to try. That's superstar mentality. Mix that with an insane pedigree as the youngest boy bred in a basketball household who was a pro since 16 years old, that got to watch things done right and wrong for his older brothers, was built to be the prize Ball brother. He was right there and still is, but this season he will not only need to show he can be healthy, but that he hasn't lost a step in his development so he can reclaim the outstanding career he's been having thus far. Lonzo Ball, torn meniscus, last played January 14, 2022. At first, you hear torn meniscus and you think, well, of all knee injuries, you'd much rather hear those words than anything else. An injury of such can be fully rehabbed within 6 months that we've seen many players come back from before. But that was just a start. It started actually on the Lakers, where he tore his meniscus the first time, as he says, while also spraining his MCL in his left knee. He had arthroscopic surgery to repair his meniscus tear, but tore it a few more times to the point with the injury as part of the Bulls, there was no more meniscus left, leaving bone to rub on bone. The bone became damaged also as a result, leaving Ball to need a new meniscus donated to him, a bone allograft and cartilage put in, then had to wait more than 2.5 years for it to all heal up and strengthen to the point he can participate in on-court activities. As you can see, injuries and brittle bones may run in the Ball basketball family, as he nor LaMelo can stay injury-free and on their path to being really good NBA players. Lonzo isn't the scoring or charismatic star LaMelo is, but he's great with other great players around him and was supposed to be 1/3 of the Big Three in Chicago to contend out east. But in his absence, the Bulls have fell short, missing the playoffs each season he's been gone, and now breaking up their Big Three, trading DeMar, and likely very soon LaVine. Lonzo needs a healthy, productive year this season, or this could be the last NBA team that invests in the once last pure point guard in the league. It's a contract year for Ball, the last of his 4-year, $80 million sign and trade with New Orleans and Chicago in 2021, meaning he's unrestricted after the upcoming season. With any sign of health issues or delayed development, Lonzo could be out the league at 27 years old. All in all, I'm rooting for each of these guys to have big years. Ja is simply a superstar when he's healthy, good enough to change the culture of an entire franchise when he's in his groove. LaMelo as well, with his globetrotter-esque game style and superstar charisma. Lonzo is one of the few true point guards still in the game who's perfect manning other great talent. All three have had big seasons before, but this 24-25 one has to be the most meaningful of them all. Salute, much respect. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.